You likely heard about the news, right? E3 2020 has been officially cancelled, so there will be no big convention starting June 9th, 2020 because of what is going on, and we all know what that is. I don't want YouTube to demonetize this video, but what is the impact on, for example, big upcoming 2020 games that still need to be announced, like the new Assassin Creed and also Batman? We actually learned, thanks to Jason Schreier from Kotaku, that Warner was planning to do some big stuff at the show this year. So will they still do that? And we got some updates from other publishers as well. I will break it all down in this video, tell you what I think is going to happen and if it will impact these big releases. So a like on the video would be super appreciated, and let's go. Luckily we still got some amazing games coming this year and you have a chance to win one. All you need to do is follow the link in the pinned comment and be a subscriber of the channel as well. Gibby won the February giveaway and got the digital deluxe edition of Avengers, so you can get special editions too. Good luck. It was really a matter of time, like events were cancelled left and right, so it made sense that E3 was next. And first and foremost, it's of course a good call, like it's not smart to bring thousands of people together from all over the world in a relatively small area. And in the official statement, the ESA, the organizers of the show, already shared that they are exploring options with our members to coordinate an online experience to showcase industry announcements and news in June 2020. So that could totally mean that the press conferences that were going to happen are still going to happen around the same time, so that would be the weekend of June 6th till the 8th on Monday. Phil Spencer, the head of Xbox, already took it to Twitter to say that they will celebrate the next generation of gaming with the Xbox community via an Xbox digital event. Details on timing and more in the coming weeks, so maybe they will just do a digital version of their yearly show. And again, I could totally see them stick to that June 9th date. They got their next gen console, maybe consoles to showcase, and of course many new games to highlight. I really hope that we see that new Fable game that has been rumored for a while now and seems to be in the works at Playground Games, the developers behind Forza, that in September 2018 were looking for a whopping 177 people to work on an entirely new AAA open-world action RPG project. If Microsoft wants to build up hype for their new systems, then teasing this Fable game is totally a great way to do that. So cool to see that they will just do a digital show, should be very interesting in terms of announcements. We will just not have a Keanu Reeves moment where he's like interacting with someone in the audience, because there will likely not be an audience.
The feeling of being there, of walking the streets of the future, is really going to be breathtaking. You're breathtaking. You're breathtaking. You're all breathtaking. All right.
Before we look at that very interesting Warner Bros. Press conference leak and of course what Ubisoft is going to do, let's first quickly touch on Square Enix, who of course also did a press conference last year and the year before that. They were likely going to continue that trend because they said in their statement after the cancellation, our 2020 lineup and the next generation that lies beyond is stronger than ever for Square Enix. Where E3 has always been an incredible moment in time to showcase our upcoming games, we are exploring other options to share our games with you. More to come, stay tuned. So kind of comparable to Microsoft, and I think with them saying that E3 has always been an incredible moment in time, I think they will just stick with their Sunday spot maybe that they used to have. So after the Microsoft show. But sure, these time slots can move because they do not have to have a press conference like out there before the convention opens, because there is no convention this time. So maybe instead of like all the press conferences in a few days, we get them throughout the whole week. I still think though that we're looking at a same sort of E3 week, because game companies have already been preparing for their show a few months now, like they mostly begin 6 months in advance. Deadlines and milestones have already been set and reached. People are working all towards that same June goal. It's part of the marketing campaign from Avengers, for example, that is releasing on September 4th to have this big blowout at E3. So why not still do that, even without the convention? And this is likely the case for many other games, including the new Assassin Creed. After E3 was cancelled, Ubisoft quickly had a statement saying that they are exploring other options for a digital experience that will allow us to share all the exciting news we have planned. Stay tuned for more. Last year they announced their E3 2019 plans at the end of March, so it should not be long before we hear more about their new plans. Because we already know that they're gonna have some big things. We know we get updates on Watch Dogs Legion, Rainbow Six Quarantine, and of course the new game from the Assassin's Creed Odyssey creators, Gods and Monsters. But maybe even more exciting are the two other unannounced games that they also want to release before March 2021. Unless these games have been delayed, they need to start talking about this soon. And of course, thanks to Jason Schreier, we know that these two unannounced games are Far Cry and Assassin's Creed. In May we should hear more about Watch Dogs Legion, Ubisoft already confirmed. So then we likely get a new release date for at the end of this year, and also hopefully some awesome new footage, because I'm really curious how the game has changed since we last saw it, because that was really at E3, so it will be a year ago at the point we see it again. But yeah, if Assassin Creed Ragnarok, or 5, or Valhalla, or Vikings is planned for October, November, December as well, then they better start talking about it soon. Ashraf Ismail tweeted out a crying emoji when quote tweeting the E3 cancellation news, likely because E3 was going to be a big moment for his game. He of course directed both Origins and Black Flag and is now likely one of the leaders on this Viking project. But yeah, the question now is, will they still be able to reach the same amount of people without this big convention? And that's going to be the overall question this year. Going to E3 and putting up a big show in a large theater followed by hands-on sessions on a very expensive booth have been the way to go for many years. But now that first one is twisted to a digital-only show, and the second part falls away. In 2018, I was lucky enough to play Odyssey before it was announced, so I could have a video ready immediately after the Ubisoft E3 press conference. And other people had that too, and will this stuff now just fall away? Meaning that Assassin's Creed will be announced during this digital experience, or maybe they already announced it before that and then we see it again, but we will just not have the enormous amount of extra gameplay out there on YouTube that we had, for example, after Odyssey was announced. Like, I was able to play 7 hours of Odyssey at E3, got all the legendary items in that demo, including the Spartan War Hero set. I could check all the skills, figure out how the mercenary system worked, and just interview a lot of the developers as well. I really hope that I can go as in-depth with the new game too, but without any hands-on sessions, that will of course be more challenging. So unless they find a way for press and content creators to go hands-on with their game and record that is something you will notice, like way less gameplay about their upcoming titles. But what is maybe more interesting is what this means for E3 2021. Hands-on sessions will totally return because Ubisoft wants to get as much footage out there as possible. But if they see that with their digital experience they reach the same amount of people, but it costs way less than the Orpheum Theater, then why go back next year and do spend that money when you could also use it for other marketing purposes? We discussed this before, and I now once again take Ubisoft as an example, but it of course applies to every publisher who used to have a big show in a big sort of space. The digital shift was already going to happen, but now everyone is forced to go in this direction, and in the end they will see that it's likely not as bad as they maybe thought. Like with a digital only show, you can just focus on the viewer at home, and with like a physical event you also have to make sure that the audience inside the room has a good time. And maybe we are already seeing a very digital focused way that Ubisoft is now using to promote the new Assassin's Creed. Like out of nowhere, Odyssey got an update with an Ezio outfit that we can unlock later on via community challenges. And you see that the outfit looks very awesome thanks to a screenshot from YouTuber Jonathan. Maybe this has nothing to do with the new AC, like we really don't know at this point, but like the timing is interesting, and also the fact that there seems to be a trial version for Odyssey in the works as well. So yeah, many people were leaving E3, like Sony of course being the big one, and I don't think that this news will really affect them that much. Like they were going to do their own event anyway, so no surprise, Warner Bros was supposed to go big this E3. We talked about it before on the channel, how they did not really have any big games for the last couple of years. And every year I would send an email asking if they had any cool appointments, like if Rocksteady's game would be there, but no, that was never the case. Like, Rocksteady hasn't released a big AAA game for 5 years by the time we get to June. The Shadow of War team should also be well into the development of their new game, although I think it's too soon for this year's E3. So when E3 was cancelled, Jason dropped this mega bomb saying that Warner Bros. Games was planning to do an E3 press conference this year for the first time to talk about Batman, Harry Potter and Rocksteady's game, among others. Remains to be seen what they will do now. And we already discussed that Harry Potter game that was leaked in 2018. You see old Harry Potter game footage right here. I will not show you the leaked trailer, but I actually made a video on it that I will share at the end of this video. It should be an open world RPG Harry Potter game, so that is already pretty big. And to then also announce the new Rocksteady game and that Batman game, man, that would be a hell of a show. But I always thought that it would not be smart to talk about Rocksteady's game and the new Batman game around the same time. Especially if Rocksteady's game is also set in the DC universe, because then you can like compare the two. And while I'm really excited for the new Batman game from Warner Montreal, the guys who made Arkham Origins, Rocksteady is of course on another level, and they worked 5 years on this new game already. So this makes me think that it might not be a DC game after all. Like, it will likely be a Warner property, you would think, right? It's not a Superman game, as the game director and co-founder of Rocksteady already confirmed. So what is it going to be? Like, your theories are of course more than welcome in the comments down below. Batman was a safe bet for this year's E3. There's still a possibility that that game launches this year. And before the Jason report, we also had Emrakaya, who seems to have inside knowledge as to what is going on behind the scenes at Warner Bros. This person said that the new Batman game would either get announced at E3 or early May. So the original tweet said prediction, but turns out that it actually wasn't a prediction. I think announcing the new Harry Potter game, the Rocksteady game and the new Batman game in one show would have been huge, but I think it's smarter to like reveal one game already and then tease more gameplay during that press conference. But yeah, the question now is, what is going to happen? Because Warner wanted to ride the hype train that is E3, where just way more people pay attention to games. But the question now is if there will still be like a lot of eyes on this week in June that seems to be happening, and of course they will not have a booth to promote these games. So will they still go all in at E3 or what is left of it, or maybe use other big shows like Gamescom and the opening night live to highlight their games, or maybe they wait for one of those titles for the Game Awards at the end of this year. I think that the Batman Court of Owls reveal will still happen if it's really a release for this year, and then it's just a wait and see. Will we get to see that Harry Potter game as well? Again, as I said in my Harry Potter video, they were looking to announce the game soon. They already communicated that. So it will be interesting to see, but on the other hand, you also think like 5 years since the last big game from Rocksteady. Are they really going to be quiet for that long? Interesting times are ahead, and if this all works out, then again, E3 2021 will not be the same. Digital is the future, and now that future is coming faster to us than anticipated. I'll of course still do my best to bring you all the news about the big games that you care about, the open world single player co-op RPGs, and hopefully I will also have options to report gameplay and share that with you. Otherwise I will just analyze trailers and all that good stuff. So there will be enough to talk about, that's for sure. Subscribe if you haven't already to stay up to date on that. Like the video to support the channel. And by hitting the join button next to the subscribe button, you can become a member and get early and ad-free access to these big weekly videos that I like to post on Sunday. And it of course supports the channel as well. So if you want to do it, then go ahead. It would help me out. You can watch that Harry Potter video by clicking on the screen. And I will speak to you next time. For now, goodbye.